Hi friends, welcome to class today. We're going to be learning about the water cycle. Now water in our world doesn't appear magically or disappear. It just changes different forms, changes different states, and goes around in a cycle, and that's how we get our different forms of water. That's what I'm going to teach you about today. First off, we'll start with precipitation. Precipitation is a word for rain or for snow, anything that falls from the sky. So it falls to the earth and goes to our next step. Runoff is our next step. Runoff comes when the rain and snow hits the earth and goes into streams, which flow into rivers, flows across the surface of the earth downhill, and eventually ends up in the ocean. When it reaches the ocean, we call this step accumulation. Accumulation is where all of the water gathers together and then can move on to our next step in the water cycle. Evaporation is that next step. The sun heats the surface of the water, and those water droplets become heated up and they spread apart and become water vapor or steam, little tiny droplets of water that rise up in the air because it's heated by the sun. Those droplets rise up and up and up in the atmosphere to reach our next step. Condensation is what happens when the water vapor and those droplets gather together high up in the atmosphere. Up there it's much cooler, not hot down lower on the surface. It's cooler and those droplets stick together closer and closer, and they form into clouds. Clouds get thicker and heavier and more filled with water until eventually it falls down again to the earth in the form of rain or snow. That's where our cycle comes, from precipitation to runoff to accumulation, rising up with evaporation, and gathering with condensation, and it starts our water cycle all over again. Thanks for listening.